point is, people, those who are new, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome them out here for Kitabnama. This is the fifth session we are doing, and we have been doing it every fortnight. We are doing one. And let me be very precise about Kitabnama. I hope you have gone through our website, which has given an elaborate description about what Kitabnama is all about, why we are doing it, what we are about to aim for. And today we are not introducing you to an author. It is just like we are introducing you to a book. So today we have a very innovative book, which is a part of a series by Abhishek Naidu, and it's about Kalki, the sword of Kalki, and we will have Abhishek with us. There he is. Abhishek, if you can just switch on your video. I would also request the other participants to switch on their video, because the point is now we had an intention to make this as an offline session, and where we can meet across every Saturday over a cup of coffee, discuss about a book, and meet the author, and know further details about what exactly happened to the author while he was or she was writing the book. Unfortunately, this pandemic situation didn't allow us to do this one, but that's a bliss for us as well, because we are getting authors from across the globe. So last week we had an author from UK. We have few more lined up, and we are very happy that we are connected to so many authors together, so many book lovers together across the digital platform. So we still want to have this feeling of roundtable conference with a cup of coffee. So your photograph or your video of your presence will definitely make a lot of difference. Without wasting much more time, let me introduce you to Abhishek KS. There he is. Abhishek, you can just unmute yourself and say hi to all of.
Uh, Hi, everyone, to everyone who has joined. Uh, as I think I'll let you speak, and then we can
Yes,
take it
yes,
up
yes.
further.
So I'll not take too much of time, because we are very much punctual. 7:30 means it's the time has start for the sword of Kalki. But I think we need to have this honor to welcome Abhishek today on this session, and we are looking forward for a lot of different interactions. So we are not just here to read out the book, because as per the registration list that we have got, we have found lot of people, those who have registered today, which are yet to join, I suppose, have read the book already. So the point is that we would rather like to have the backstage story. We'd rather like to have the mindset story, and there will be some rapid fire round for Abhishek for a fun session. And definitely, we will also start interacting with the participants, those who are here with us, so that it is not like a very monotonous dialogues from Abhishek and maybe from me and Abhishek, but it's like more an interactive session where we need to chit chat, gossip, and definitely get introduced to the book. So, Abhishek, first I would like you to have the time dedicated for the book. So, first I want you to introduce your book to the participants.
Okay, so it has been a now. I think it has been a year since I completed writing my book. As some of you already know, this book is uh, it's a mythology. It's a fantasy mythology. But apart from that, it's also a social commentary on the times we are living in. It's not as such a fantasy, a mythical world that I have built. I'm hoping that people do find parallels with the times we are living in the society we are living in, and hopefully there can be something to take away from for people who have read it. I hope, I pray that it stays in people's mind for a long, long time. So that is what I'm hoping for. Uh, you read it, you read the book, right?
I just
I'm
started
hoping.
a bit, and then I didn't couldn't finish. I'm really apologize for that, because I have been doing a lot of stuff together, so I couldn't finish that one. But the one which I've started with has really given me a lot of curiosity to move ahead. I'm just trying to find some more time tomorrow. That's a Sunday, and go ahead with the remaining part. But yes, it's a very different kind of a storybook, and I should not be a spoiler for. So I will keep myself very restricted today, and I would rather ask you to also like don't spill the bins of a spoiler. And because
Yes.
it's a very in a very innovative way of writing that I found in your book, and it's very different kind of a storyline. And see, I'll give you my own personal experience that mythology is something which really influences our daily life. We still have Mahabharat, Ramayana, and the other mythological stories which uh, like which always gives us everyday decision making power. And irrespective of that, I think that's the one of the major saga, I should say, which keeps on repeating across the soaps and serials, across the televisions, because that's something which has a continuous learning. It can always give a
Yes.
makeover, but the core story has a lot of in-depth understanding at different levels. Because why I'm telling this, because when I saw Mahabharata first, I remember that was morning on Sundays. We used to have that across Doordarshan and all.
I
So that's definitely a nostalgia. At that point of time when I was very young, then those were a different learning from them. Now when I see the same episode, maybe in a revamped version or a remixed version, which I should say, but the core story being the same, it's just that the actors have changed. There's a lot of graphics that has come into play. VFX is now into the play, but the core story being the same. Now the understanding with the level of maturity grown across the years is totally different. So the same episode or the same story, once read or seen in the previous time, and now it really gives a lot of difference. And definitely when you are putting up a
yes.
story like this, I would like to take the privilege to also put up one more point. I happen to even read a part of a book, or a part of where Duryodhan, where we usually find him as one of the negative character. And it happened so that one of my relative, he in relation with my grandfather, not in a direct, in relation. So he wrote a book, a very small one, where he has portrayed the entire stories related to Duryodhan from his perspective. And believe me,
Yes.
when you read that book, the entire like purview that okay, Duryodhan being a negative character, you will have your inner sense asking you questions. So why till date you have always thought Duryodhan as a negative? It's also the other way
Correct.
around, where he was trying to be a good son, he was trying to be a good leader, he was trying to be a good ancestor, like everything from his point of view. He has been deprived, and revenge is a very common thing where most of us
Yes.
has been seeing that the Pandavas are also after some revenge. So why the Kauravas are like the negatives? So after reading the book, I realized that yes, this is not like the simple stories that we read, the normal short stories that we read. It has a lot of in-depth knowledge. It has a lot of in-depth understanding. It has a lot of maturity to grow in you. And as the ages grow by, maybe you can understand the layers which has its different colors slowly
Yes.
coming up. So in that context, your book definitely adds up to that particular, I should say, emotions that I got attached to that previous book of
Yes.
Duryodhan. This one somehow gave me that same nostalgic feeling, that same feeling coming up to me. So I would like to ask one of the participants, those who have joined today, that how are their feelings in regards to mythology and its influence in their life. I hope there will be a lot of exciting answers coming up, but I would like somebody to be very much proactive. Abhijit, Bhavin, Subhashini, Lola Swine, anyone who is there who can proactively. Okay, I really appreciate every time I really get this hands up, and it really gives me so much of pleasure. So please have the. I would like to have hear from you, Kalola ji. So आपका क्या राय है इसके बारे में?
From the childhood, I have heard many stories about mythology. Actually, I have not started my study by writing ABCD or something like that, because my grandpa used to tell the stories. So Ram, Sita, Lakshman, they had gone to village, and they finally they told that this is the type of village. This is the type of means forest they used to go. finally, from that, he has told that Rama means this way you have to write. So I have learned my scripts from mythology actually. So I have not started from normal study. So I have just started all my study from mythology only. So that is a big thing for me. Thank you.
That is really something very much innovative for me, because especially what I have seen, that grandparents usually give a lot of these insight learning whenever we are at the younger stage. They give us, it can be Mahabharata, it can be Ramayana, it can be Aesop tales, or it can be anything which always gives you a foundation of your personality, a foundation of your growth of maturity or decision making in your future life. I think that's a bliss. And I don't think mythological stories can have an alternative in this respect, because they are so much in line with most of the phases of human life. Few maybe in like having a part in your, few maybe not, but it almost covers all the phases of life, and I think it prepares you from the very beginning. So yes, mythological stories are definitely, I think, still today, uh, we are getting a lot of period drama, we are getting movies after, especially after Bahubali and all, but I still connect to stories which are mythologically has its own origin, because that gives a lot of a direct learning, I should say, rather than just a mass movie. But again, let's not divert the discussion into that. Anyone else would like to add up to this particular thought process, or this feeling towards the mythological stories, or anything? Or shall we have Abhishek to carry forward with? Yes, Subhashini. So I was just waiting for your hand to come up. I was just waiting for your hand. Believe me, I was looking at across your thumbnail. I was just waiting that why the hand is not coming up. Okay, okay. Okay,
So
Subhashini.
I had
Yeah.
promised myself that I will keep shut and not open my mouth for as long as I can, and 10 minutes is all that I can keep shut for.
No, 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 no. You
So,
you you should
so
not keep short like that. Yeah, please tell me.
so I was just thinking that I see my brothers, both the kids, they have had a very close association with my parents, and I have seen how they've been put to sleep, put to bed, with either my father or mother telling them stories, which is from, say, part of Ramayana or Mahabharat or our Thakumar Jhuli also. We have grown up with that.
Yes,
And I
absolutely.
still remember that. I don't know whether you would call stories from Thakumar Jhuli as mythology, but they are kind of a fairy tale for us.
It's so similar
Before
to
the
Aesop
Grimm,
tales. Yeah, something like that.
Aesop tales, yeah.
Yes, yes,
Before
yes.
Grimm brothers happened to us, before Hansel and Gretel happened to us, it is our own very much the fairy tales that we have, either you name it Ramayana, Mahabharat. Particularly, what I want to share is in our house, we have also had a fair influence of the Greek mythology, where we have had Zeus, where we had, Hercules, where we have had all the Greek gods and their stories, the Clash of the Titans. Even today, if it comes on TV, I will go and sit and watch it. I'm absolutely fascinated by Medusa and her, the head of snakes and how she is killed. So I can't outgrow it in any form. Be it the Ramayana and the fight of the arrows, which keep coming from both sides, and 10 scenes of only that arrows coming. Or,
Yeah.
however
Now, now,
ridiculous it may
now,
seem.
now we laugh at those VFX when we see that both the arrows are
Yeah,
coming and they're actually meeting each other like exactly pinpoint. And at that point of time, it was
it
like
was
we used to,
fascinating.
yeah,
I mean, roads used to be empty, and we all used to, I still remember, we all used to wrap up our whatever we are doing and sit in front of the TV. Why? Because Ramayana Mahabharata is
yes,
coming.
absolutely. I think this
I
is a
mean,
common across all the houses across India.
right,
Very rare, I think, we can find a few that okay, they are not a part of this gang, but I think everyone
correct.
has this same thing, and
Yeah,
that's why the connection that I think we can connect to whenever we even hear of any character of those mythological stories. It's much
absolutely.
beyond that. Maybe the present generation, much beyond.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Subhashini.
Thank
We'll
you.
come back to the participants very soon, but I think let's Abhishek unmute. And he has given a brief about the story. Before he starts reading out, it is my duty to ask that what exactly was his mindset, or why did he choose writing a story like this? We would like to know about that one first.
So actually, this story came to me when I was very young. I was, I think, around 7 or 8. I think I don't remember exactly, but I was very young, and I was very great at making stories. I could. The issue is, I was not a very convincing liar, but if you give me time, I could cook up stories. And what I used to do was, my brother used to tease me, and I have an elder brother, and he used to tease me. So I just cooked up a story where I, I used to travel to this fantasy land, and I used to fight monsters along with mythological characters. So sometime along the line, what happened was the stories grew a lot, very, they grew in an elaborate manner. My brother started believing them, and I thought, okay, if someone believes something a kid can cook up, I think um, I can tell a better story, and I put my time to it, and that is how the idea of this story came up. Also, what happened was, I started my job around 7 years back. So that was the first time I went to, I joined the workforce. Rather. So that is when I realized that my generation, that is our generation, people have, uh, started only believing in things rather than thinking of finding the truth. And that is what dharma is all about. See, when we say dharma, it was never religion in Sanskrit. Dharma always meant a path of righteousness, it was never religion. So I always thought that why do we believe in things? It was never our culture to believe in things. We were always supposed to be the seekers. We were supposed to find things out. We were not supposed to believe in whatever other people say, whatever they may importance they may hold over us. Even if they are our parents, we used to ask them a lot of questions. Even if they are, let us say, our teachers, our culture has been such, and that is what I thought was missing. And that is why I wrote this book, so that the next generation, the teenagers, will read about our stories. They will read and try to find out. I don't want them to believe. I want them to find out. Go read new things, read Puranas, find find some things that are wrong with our culture, find some things that are better than many of the things that are going out right now. Find things that they can better. Find things to get angry at. Find things to be proud of. And I just want them to find. I just want people to find out the truth. That is what was the main goal behind this, behind writing this book.
Well, this is something very much different from. I never expected this answer, to be very honest with you, because this is much more deep, where you have a vision of the entire society to understand. And I think this is a very noble thinking that you are having with you. But that really raises the curiosity, and I would really not let the participants to wait further. And you can please select the first set of book reading from your book, and if you can just read it out for the participants, for everyone to read.
Yes, just a
Yes,
second.
sure.
So I'll start with the first chapter itself. I hope, because that is where the suspense builds up. And if I start in between, I might be giving out spoilers. So I'll start with the first chapter itself, and I'll just read a small paragraph so that people don't have to hear my voice for a long time. And hopefully,
we
I'll
we
just,
really
yeah.
don't mind. We want to hear a bit, but definitely I should also request you not to put any spoiler in the readout. So select the
Yes, yes,
text which can grow the curiosity, like I have already grown in myself, and not,
yes,
yeah. So please go ahead.
yes. So this is from the point of view. This book has been written from different points of views, and this is from the point of view of one of the protagonists, that is Rayansh. I see him running towards me like a crazed bull, his nostrils all flared up, his fist clenched tighter than the spandex suits worn by superheroes in comics. And you know where. Wink. I can see the fist coming my way. I can feel the gust of wind generated by the movement of his fist approaching me. It feels like I have the power to control time, and everything is happening in ultra slow motion. I feel like Peter Parker in that scene from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1, where Flash Thompson tries to punch him. Wait, you might be thinking that this is a superhero story about a teenager who can control time, right? I'm afraid that this is not that kind of a story. Well, if you want to know what kind of a story this is, then we need to rewind a little bit. Just 30 minutes earlier, my best friend forever, or as I like to call her, a permanent cranial concussion, Ananya, had arrived at my lunch table with blood red eyes, presumably after having cried all night. She was going on and on about how last night she had found her boyfriend, Satish, sipping coffee with a girl. She had then wanted me to teach a lesson to him. Well, Ananya is tall. At 5'9", with her toned arms, she is perfectly capable of teaching Satish any lesson. Scratch it. She can drill into him the entire syllabus if she wants to. But for some reason, she has this habit of dragging me into her fights. Well, I'm not the kind of guy who you would beg to teach someone this type of a lesson. I'm a lean. Okay, I'm thin. Calm down, man. Guy with no penchant for violence. I am extremely agile and also the fastest runner on the athletics team. But that is what I'm good at, running from fights, running from people. Only lesson I could teach anyone would be about chemistry or physics. That's it. That is how I, or for that matter, anyone who knows me would describe me. Imagine what would have been my response when she ordered me to teach her boyfriend a lesson. Well, I did not do whatever you people are imagining. Rather, I just sat there calmly, biting into the gobi paratha that my mother had cooked for me, without the slightest hint of emotion on my face. After 15 minutes or so, when I was just packing my lunchbox, having successfully withstood brutal attacks on my ego, Satish came to our lunch table looking for Ananya. And then the inevitable happened. Ananya went on and painted an elaborate picture of how I was going to teach Satish a lesson. The detailed narration would have made Scorsese proud. And the way she was portraying the yet to happen fight, for a microsecond, even I believed that I could take him on. Well, the delusion lasted exactly that long, a microsecond. As soon as she finished a depiction of the mighty Rayansh, I saw a clenched fist coming my way, and the time slowed down. I dodged his punch as if I had been doing it all my life, and then I floored him with a right hook to his chin. There was a sudden applause, as if I had just hit the tiebreaker and won the football cup. Well, I did tell you that this was not that kind of a story. This is what actually happened. Satish did come to our lunch table, but when he left a few minutes later, I had a bloody nose and an extremely angry girl sitting beside me. So, uh, shall I continue? Yes. Well, this was not what I had envisioned my life would be like in college. I was a teenager, and for the first time, I was on my own. I wanted to experience all that this life had to offer, except the booze, the joints, the girls, and the stuff. See, absolutely normal, right? It has been a year since I joined the Vidyasagar Institute of Technology, Bangalore, for an engineering degree. Normal, right? On my first day, after the orientation was over, I was sitting on our canteen bench, reading Train to Pakistan by Khushwant Singh, and suddenly I heard an unmistakable, thundering sound of a slap. I got up from my seat and turned around to have a look at what had happened. I saw a girl in a heated conversation with the juice bar owner. A number of students had gathered around the place as we human beings normally do when we witness any such event which does not concern us. I started to move towards the juice bar, hoping to find the reason. When I reached the bar, she had raised her hand and was about to repeat the slap bang routine. Wait, I shouted. This made her stop, and she turned around to find the guy who had stopped her in her divine underwear. She stared at me, as if I had just told her that Robert Downey Jr. was overrated. Though at 6'1 I was taller than most of the people present there, this girl had such an imposing persona that I felt like a child trembling due to the fear of getting scolded by his mother. After a few seconds of dead glares, which would have been cool if I was not at the receiving end, she told me that the guy at the counter had tried to cheat her by charging 50 rupees for a glass of orange juice. I felt really bad for the guy who had just got slapped for no fault of his. I passed a 100 rupee note to him, apologized silently, and let the girl away from the juice bar. That is how I had met Ananya and had immediately realized that she was not going to make life easier for me. Okay, so I'll just read from another part of the book.
We
So
will
this is after.
yes, we will do that. We will take,
Yes, yes,
we are going to read your book parts in 3 sessions. So this is the first one. So
yes,
first
yes,
I want to interrupt you and ask the participants now that there are two
yes.
incidences which Abhishek has told right now. How many of you can relate with these two incidences? I want answers. Somebody like, not Kalolaji and Subhashini, they always speak a lot. Somebody, Kiran, Abhijit, Bhavin, we have somebody, SK, Sabiha is also here. So how many of you can relate these two things, two uh, incidents that Abhishek has told right now? I think many of us can. At least I can. I don't know how many of you have. No one? Come on, somebody should be proactive. If you don't want to switch on your video, that's absolutely fine. You can unmute and speak up. Anyone?
Unfortunately, I'm not able to relate to this situation because I've never found myself in this situation.
Okay. So fine, no problem, Sabia. But then let me go back to the first question: that how do you feel that any kind of a mythological story has the influence on human life or specifically your life?
From what I have seen, especially in our society, mythology has a huge, huge impact. It it did earlier also, it continues, and I can see its effect in a lot of uh, uh, people's actions. Their thought process is highly, highly influenced by that. Me personally, um, I grew up in an environment where, of course, considering if you have to attach mythology with religion, then mine was a little different, obviously. And for some weird reason, I have a very different mindset. So I have never, I have always been questioning. I think I drove my father mad by asking questions. Why? Why do we have to do this?
Okay.
Why are you doing that? And he was like, poor thing, three-fourths of the time he never had an answer. And then my question would be, why didn't you ask your dad about this?
Okay. No, that's really nice, Savya, because the point is, um, we don't ask questions. That's something.
Yes.
Sometimes that's not good. We don't ask questions. We are very happy with whatever is coming on the way. If they're telling you that you have to wear the shoe like this, okay, it is like this. Why not? I'm giving a
Why?
very
Yeah.
random example. So many a times these questions when asked, see, I usually didn't ask so much of questions to my parents like the way you have explained. But when I grew up, when I started grew up, my way of learning was very different. I don't want to portray it right here. People will not really appreciate it, but my way of learning, studying was very different, and I always wanted to have its impact or connection with daily life. And as I started reading something and all, then I realized that previously, where maybe the education was not that much predominant across the societies, people were more into the Raja Maharaja and the farmers and the laborers and the coal miners in that kind of a social what do you call setup. Then letting somebody know something, you call it a vastu or you call it like what do you call tree plantations or any kind of green globe like global warming or anything. It was very difficult for them to make people understand. So at that point of time, I believe that those who were scientifically sound, the Vedas, which all are there, so they have just made some rules in the society which are in line with whatever scientifically we are getting it today. And that's the reason why there are many things which actually comes exactly aligned. But again, in the due course of time, there were few also who exploited it, made undue advantage of it, and as a reason of which that entire clutter. That's the reason of which whenever we see a Naga sadhu, we have the different mindset in our mind. There may be something wrong. There are a lot of things happening. There is always all the fingers in the hand is not the same. So in that way, I think previously people were taught a lesson to have a social lifestyle which will be in line with scientific well-being. So that I believe. And today also, whenever I get to understand it. Okay, Vastu says like this. Okay, why this magnetic poles and all those things. Okay, this is like today we need to have a fast. Why fast? Because okay, once in a month fast is a good nutritional habits. So everything has a scientific backdrop, which maybe at that point of time letting people understand with all heavy terms like nutrition and global warming and the magnetic poles and the fields would have been difficult. So they used to like if you don't do this, then you will have a curse. If you don't do this, then God will be very much annoyed to you. So people were afraid. And again, as one of I remember one dialogue of a Hindi movie, which really I think is one of the best dialogue in my mind in regards to God. That people are not God loving people; they are God fearing people. So I believe that yes, it is true, because it is only on a very special occasion, on the day of the examination, on the day of where your corporate appraisal is on the papers, you really have a longer time to chant and say thanks to God and wish and pray and then go to the office or the school. But the other days, it is just like maybe somebody does, somebody doesn't, so something like that. So irrespective of that, I think your message was very well explained, and I'm so happy that at least I got somebody who has asked questions, because that will relate your entire knowledge, that will relate your entire things with whatever you're doing today, or maybe will impact your decision making or lifestyles in your future. Now, again, rather than wasting any further time, let's go to the second session of the book reading from your end. We are all waiting anxiously for that. Yes.
Yes. So this is the scene after Ananya and I have decided to leave for a national bird sanctuary, and our exams are over. So we had decided. I am a nature lover. I, as in the main character, he's a nature lover. Reyansh is a nature lover, and he has along with Ananya, he has planned to leave for a national park sanctuary, and that is where the scene starts. Come on, it will be a really fun trip. If you agree to this, I'll stop dating for the rest of our college life. Ananya looks at me with that puppy dog look she knew I hated. Stop it. I don't care about your dating life. It's just that your breakups hurt me. Literally. I tell her. I knew it. I'm not your best friend, am I? Oh, the emotional blackmail. Okay, I'll come, but no outdoor camps. We will stay at a hotel. I agree, despite my inner self shaking his head violently. 3 a.m. We are almost about to reach our destination. It has been 4 hours of continuous driving for her. Oh, please, I can see the condescending faces you guys are making at me for not sharing the driving duties. Well, I'm not a jerk. I am just a 17-year-old. Okay, almost 17, and hence I don't have a driving license, and she has. So zip it. And even though she doesn't, I know she is tired. Let's stop for a bit. I need to free my legs, I tell her, making it seem like I need a break. The highway resembles the dark desert highway to Hotel California. She pulls aside near a tea shop just off the road. We order a packet of Parle-G biscuits, a glass of masala chai, and a glass of milk. An old man extends his hand over the counter with a packet of biscuits in his palm. As I take it, he nods and raises up his palm, asking us to wait for the tea and the milk. We sit on the wooden benches outside the makeshift shop and open the biscuit packet. I don't remember the last time I had looked at the sky, away from the artificially lit up, annoyingly bright cities, and I'm seriously regretting it. The sky is full of stars, their brightness comparable to lights hanging outside most of the buildings in India during Deepavali. I try to locate the Saptarishis in the sky when I see a flaming arrow. Yeah, a goddamn flaming arrow falling from the sky towards us. This is the moment when the shit hit the fan. Without even looking at Ananya, almost as a reflex, I pull off the bench we are sitting on. Again to check if Ananya is on my skull. The last thing I remember before blacking out is the lovely union of my face with the searing hot tar.
Okay, in between we missed you a bit, but then again that sound came in a faster note. I think there is a little bit of a lag in your internet still persisting, but that's okay, no problem. We can still manage to understand what exactly we have missed out. Well, that's nice. I really love the way the conversation which the way the pattern that we have written. I was telling the participants that it is not just like a dialogue that is happening. It is not just like the explanation of the situation, but it's also the subconscious is talking to the reader directly, and that's what is making things so what do you call in connection to the characters that you have built up. That's really nice. Now, before we move on to the last small reading of your book, let me engage you in a short rapid fire round, which I love to do it every time. And this will be a very short one. Will not take too much of time of yours because people are, I think, anxious to get the third phrase of your reading. So, are you ready for it? Abhishek, are you there?
Yeah, hopefully I don't say something that I regret.
Ah, I wish you do.
We we
Okay.
Yes,
will
yes,
take it as
Subhashini.
mythology. We will
Huh?
take it as mythology.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, great.
Okay, so
That is a good one.
the first question, Abhishek, for you, if given a choice in a particular situation where you have to choose one between dharma and karma, which will you prefer? If you want to elaborate me the question, I can do it.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Okay, fine. For example, for a Mohammedan guy who has to read namaz 5 times a day mandatorily during the Ramzan period, and
Just a sec. Yeah.
yeah,
I lost you for a period of time. Yeah. Now, yeah, I can hear you.
A Mohammedan guy who has to read namaz for 5 times a day, especially during the Ramzan time, that's the karma or dharma which asks him to say do, and in spite of that there is a karma where he has to feed a few of the underprivileged kids, which the time is clashing exactly the namaz time, and he has to choose any one of them. So in this kind of situation taken, I'm giving you an exaggerated one to understand the question. If comes to you as a dharma or karma, one which you want to do for the social well-being, and dharma, it is the one which has been prescribed by the philosophers or from the earlier days that this is needs to be done. So when there is one particular situation in your life where you have no other choice but either to choose a dharma or a karma, which one will you do and why?
Yeah. So, actually, For me, dharma, I said, and the more I'm reading about it, it feels dharma is a way of life. How a person should live their life. That is what dharma means to me. So for me, dharma and karma are not different. Dharma is what is right, and karma should be doing what is right. So that is what it is. So for me, I don't have to choose either dharma or karma. Dharma is a religion. For me, religion does not exist. Religion is something that we have made up. We, as in humans, have made up. We had so much time, and we had enough of theories, and we had enough of our ego to soothe. That is why we have made up religion. But dharma, since the beginning, since the Vedas and philosophies, dharma never meant religion. Dharma was always a righteous way of life, and that is what I would choose. So for me, dharma and karma are same, and if they differ, something that you should follow.
We are losing you in between, but okay, let's move on to the next question. The next question is, given you an opportunity to write a book which is not the same genre that you have written, which will be your first preference to write?
I am thinking of writing a ghost story, so my first preference would be to write a horror story.
Horror story.
I'm in love with yeah, I'm in love with haunted house movies. You know,
Okay.
specifically of that genre. Not
Okay.
only any horror movie, but a haunted house kind of movie. And that
Okay.
is what.
Now let me be very honest with you. If I am suppose a filmmaker and I am very much impressed with the Sword of Kalki, and I would love to have your book for making a movie, would you be interested for that?
I would surely be. Hopefully, that leads to more people reading it. That is
Okay.
what.
Now, actually, this was not my question. The question comes now.
Okay.
Now, I being a absolute business-minded guy and not at all a creative guy, now I want to totally make a makeover of the core story and build up. Will you agree to that one, or your creative instinct will be very much strict that no, irrespective, you are paying me high. I know that the book will have a lot of momentum and I will become famous overnight, but I will not let my creative child to take a makeover. So, which one will you choose at that point of time? Given a choice, you have only 15 minutes to decide and tell him, or rather me.
No, I wouldn't need 15 minutes. I would say no. Because for me, the story, the principles that I have put in, the story I want to tell, the idea that I want to spread to people is more important than. I never did it for for the money. So the idea behind this was a very specific idea, and that is what I want to portray. And I would not.
Superb.
If there is something, there is a minute change in the principles, I would not agree to that.
Superb. That's all for the rapid fire round, Abhishek. And I must say that you have really not said anything which will really make you regret any point of time. So that all the questions have been answered democratically, very sound. Where even I can't even counter questions, so that's absolutely fine. But yes, the answers were really impressive. So with that note, let's move on to the last and the final session of the book reading, and it's your choice to select the best among the entire book which you want to read out for all.
Yeah, so the best portion is a very spoiler ridden portion. So I will choose something that gives an idea about the story, but that does not delve much into the story. So the title of this chapter is I Miss My Own Birthday Party. Reyansh. This is from the point of view of again from the character, the one of the protagonists, Reyansh. A pointy thing hovers dangerously close to my face. It looks like an arrowhead. What? Why is an arrow being pointed at me? And why in this God, not yet, but very close to being damned world, do I reek of alcohol, burnt skin, blood, and so many other things I don't want to name for the risk of throwing up? The man with the bow and arrow looks at me with such intensity that I find it difficult to not quiver and ask for forgiveness. Kali, why have you come to my kingdom? The man with the bow and arrow questions me. I am on a shore of what I am assuming is a lake. On my left lies a half eaten, rotting carcass of a bovine. As I look to my right, I find trees increasing in numbers along the distance. The area turns into a dense forest, not very far from where I am standing. From the smell of it, I am pretty sure that I am wearing some animal's hide instead of my usual denims and t-shirt. The guy pointing the arrow at me is wearing a gold-plated armor, which looks heavy enough to have made Ray chutney out of me if I had to wear it. Well, my name is not Kali, and nobody says my kingdom nowadays, is what I want to tell him, but instead end up falling at his feet. Lord Parikshit, the end of Dwapar Yuga is here, and as foretold by the Lord himself, this is the beginning of my time. I tell him. Wait, what? Come on. Okay, it seems I am having some kind of a fantastical dream. I, Panduvanshi Raja Parikshit, cannot allow such a wild entity to enter my kingdom. If you want to live, you need to leave mercy and not kill you. The scary guy roars. Well, he doesn't look scary, but the me, who is not me but still me, is extremely afraid of for my life somehow. O Lord of Bhuloka, the entire world is your kingdom. If you ask me to leave your kingdom, where will I go? You are a true Kshatriya in every sense of the word. You show mercy to all your subjects. Please show some mercy. Please provide me some place to reside. I beg. Where is your self respect, dude? I want to ask myself. Okay, you may reside in the following four places where people abuse nature, where people are discriminated on the basis of caste, race, religion, or gender, where people have left the path of Dharma, where innocent beings are killed. I feel a humongous wave of anger rising from deep inside my heart. The fear of this man overshadows my anger towards him. How dare he, an ordinary human, threaten Kali? But I know better. I know I must try and manipulate the situation to my advantage. Lord, these places are very limited. In your rule, where people follow the path of Dharma, it would be difficult for me to find such places. Please provide me with one more place where I can reside. He tells me, you may also reside in gold, as it is the weapon of greed. Even the best of us can make mistakes when we are overconfident. King Parikshit, unaware that he has a golden crown on his head and a golden armor on his body, turns his back to me. I have a feeling that the smile on my face right now is much more sinister than Anthony Hopkins's in The Silence of the Lambs.
Well, I think this is really going to add a lot of curiosity to most of the uh, participants of
Hopefully,
today. Yes, that's definitely going to add. But I should really like to thank you for taking out time for this entire session and reading out really the portions of the book which is going to really create a lot of curiosity. So that's very tricky, and I really appreciate the time and the cooperation from all the participants as well. Abhijit has raised his hand. He wants to say something. Abhijit, you want to unmute yourself and say something?
Yeah, actually, I'm very much interested in reading mythological books, but hearing to this, I found it very much different. What I have read are truly like Mahabharata, Ramayana, but this is amazing. I'm looking forward to read this book.
Yes. I think this is why Kitabnama has taken its shape, because we understand that whenever there are new authors like Abhishek, we have Amrita, we have Khushi. They are coming up with the new formats of writing. They are coming up with absolutely new what do you call, the way of writing the book. So that is really impressive, and we at Kitabnama really would like to have a small discussion and push that to all of you. Well, in that note, I should also like to tell that we at Webjor have started something called the bookshelf, in line with Kitabnama, there where we are going on doing the virtual sessions. We have also started a bookshelf, which is a book bank. It is predominantly now filled with photography books. We have got almost 12 years of editorial copies from Better Photography, which we want to give it out to most of the people to read and again give back to us. And this entire service is, we are trying to make it absolutely free of cost. We are not going to charge anything. We are taking a security amount, which will cater the courier charges from our end, but there is no charges borne for you to keep the book for a month or two, read the book and give it back to us. So there, the authors of Kitabnama are also contributing a complimentary book to WebGear, and that book also we are keeping in our bookshelf for all of you to read. So I would not appreciate to stop buying his book, but again, since he has already mentioned this entire purpose of his book, or rather most of the authors today, is not making money, it's not minting money, it's about raising a concern, it's about putting up a message, it's about the social upbringing, and that will definitely happen only and only when you start a lot of reading books. So I will appreciate if you can go across our website and find out the details of the bookshelf. Also, if you have any other authors among your friends, those who have written a book and rather published a book specifically, please introduce him or her to Kitabnama, and it will be our pleasure indeed to have them on board. With that note, I would really like to thank Abhishek for this particular session and introducing us to the Sword of Kalki. And thanks to all the participants once again. And on that note, I would request everyone to stay safe, take very good care of yourself and your family members. Join us again across the next session of Kitabnama a fortnight later from today. And we are sure that we will definitely add a lot of fun activities and a lot of discussions in regards to that particular book. So looking forward to see you again. Till then, take care. Good night.